Welcome back. It's Reading Adam here. And today I wanted to talk about convict conditioning. And convict conditioning is a book that is written by, I'm just looking him up because I always forget people's names, Paul Wade, which I think is a pseudonym. I think the real author is somebody different, some Al person. And, sorry, excuse me, I seem to have come down with a cold uh, yesterday sometime. It didn't feel like a cold, but now it kind of does. And so I'm not going to have this be a very long video. Again, I recommend you listen to my videos at 1.25 or 1.5 speed because of the rate in which I speak. And I'm not going to throw sentences at you like this, where I suddenly rapidly speak and then you can't understand it on a higher speed. I'll keep a steady rhythm, and yeah, you can watch this a bit faster. So let's get straight into the book. Why did I read this book? Convict Conditioning. Isn't this just some kind of gimmicky, I've sold a million ebooks kind of guys? Well, I can see why people would be cynical. All of us have to be cynical this day and age because there's so much nonsense out there. I've heard the book recommended many, many times in the last, 5 or 6 years. And I finally decided after watching the movie Shot Caller with Nikolaj something or other, the guy who played Jaime Lannister, or still plays Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. Um, that was a very interesting and good movie. I really liked that movie, and it kind of got me interested in what convicts or what prisoners have to do to work out. Because one of the main points of when he's first just pitching the sale, right, when he's first trying to sell you on, look, this isn't gimmicky bullshit. This is actually going to make you stronger, a fitter athlete. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. Some of his points. You've probably already read this yourself. If you haven't, I'm just reiterating the pitch. So first, before I get into it, um, the pitch goes like this. There's only one area that athletes train for their sport, and bodybuilders train to look good. Um, but only one group of people now trains exclusively. Yeah, well, and police officers and soldiers, they rely on their weapons most of the time. But only one group of people trains exclusively for survival, and that's prisoners, especially in maximum security prisons. These prisoners, they have no choice. Like, you have to work out and be in shape just to survive. So it it makes sense that premise makes sense, and it makes sense that they don't have access to a gym, and they're confined to their cells most of the time. So what are they going to do? Well, calisthenics, and not like jumping jacks and stuff like that, but serious strength training, gymnastic level stuff that you progress up to, like a one arm handstand push up, a one arm pull up. Those are things that people would not, if they saw you do that, like, they probably wouldn't want to mess with you because you're obviously very strong. Proportionate strength is a good thing to have. I've always heard that proportionate strength, so being way stronger for your size, um, is very good for injury protection. And right, and at my point in life right now, I've gone on and off to the gym for since I was like a preteen, and it hasn't really gotten me where I wanted to be. Um, I never took steroids. I never took testosterone. I've never. The only supplements I've had is just the whey protein, but it's never done. I've never gotten really in shape with it. Yes, I've gotten stronger, but I've also injured myself. I injured my right or left shoulder at one point a few times, my rotator cuff, from bench pressing because I was like, I was getting so excited that my bench press was getting heavier and heavier, and I was once I was getting slightly over 200 pounds, which was the heaviest I had gone. Uh, did it too quickly. I moved up on weight way too fast, and ended up hurting my shoulder. And I didn't bench again for well, probably 3 or 4 years. What good is that? What good is lifting heavy weight, then hurting yourself, and then working out for a while? And I was always pulling something on my back, and it's probably my posture. I was doing pull-ups I was like, trying to get my chin over, and I guess that really cranks your back and neck muscles. It's like every time I worked out back, I pulled something in my neck or my back, and just unpleasant. That's what kept me out. Injuries keep you out they keep you from being consistent. So his main premise makes a lot of sense that convicts, they have to work out for survival, and they don't have access to a gym. So what do you do? Calisthenics, and you do serious calisthenics. And his whole premise is, don't just jump into this. Start off really simplistic with what you're doing, and he gives you 6 main groupings of things that you do, like your core exercise, which is basically the leg raise. He gives you 10 progressions for that. Squats, which he gives you 10 different progressions to make that increasingly difficult. Push-ups, and then the ultimate goal is strict one-hand push-ups without splaying your legs out and cheating. And pull-ups, but progressing up to pull-ups, like mastering each step before you move on to the next step, taking your time with it, taking a month at each kind of progression. He kind of recommends this being the way to do it. Don't rush it, because as soon as you go up to another progression, if you suddenly go from regular push-ups and you think you're doing really good, and then you go to diamonds, and then you're struggling, but you kind of make it. You make it to the master level, and then you're like, well, the next thing is kind of starting one-arm push-ups and using one hand on a ball and one hand on the floor, and the uneven push-ups, and you're going to fail if you've tried to rush it. Your body doesn't. You got to give your body time to adapt. And one thing I liked about what he talks about now, when you read the book, and you don't have to read everything word for word, but when you read the book, he really sounds like he does know what he's talking about. He clearly knows what he's talking about. I've read a few physiotherapy books, textbooks. I've read a lot of fitness stuff, as probably most anybody has that's even marginally into fitness these days. And obviously this guy knows the stuff, and he actually was in prison, and had to deal with this. So, and he gave a lot of examples in his sales pitch throughout history, how calisthenics, body weight exercises, have been revered through all time. Warriors have always been doing this. And why? Because you need strength, but you need functional strength. Like, I've heard it said before when I was watching a video on GSP, George St. Pierre, the MMA guy, that I was watching a video Tim Ferriss shared about his workouts, and his workouts was like gymnastics, body weight stuff, handstand push-ups, and things like that, and parallel bars, I think, gymnastics. Because the idea was the gymnast is strong no matter what movement. Like, they're strong at every point in a movement, and nobody thinks of gymnastics. Modern day gymnastics was invented in the late 1800s, I believe, by people who were using calisthenics to work out. It was a golden age of working out, and that's how gymnastics kind of evolved into what it is today. And then Tim Ferriss did interview a guy, Coach Summers, who I believe that's his name, who was a gymnastics coach, and made a very interesting point about weightlifting, it speeds things up a bit too fast where your muscles are growing, but your joints and your tendons are not strengthening at the same pace. So calisthenics is something, if you do the progressions right, apparently, I've dedicated this year to trying this, because I did single leg squats all last year. I was trying to progress to a full pistol squat. I didn't get there, but I single leg squats did in 1 year way more for my legs. My thighs grew more, and I could see more musculature. It did way more for my thighs than any number of years of squatting with a weight rack, squatting with a barbell, which always kind of hurt my back. And also, excuse me, 1 second. Sorry about that. Also, I didn't want you to see that. You don't need to see a guy just kind of wipe his nose a little bit. That's gross. So I saved you. So I helped you out there. I saved you. You owe me. You owe me one. Lost my train of thought, of course, but basically, what was my train of thought? Oh, jeez. That's what I get for trying to be funny, and that's what I get for having a cold, right? Your mind's a bit fuzzier. Coach Summers in gymnastics. The one thing that appeals to me is strengthening your joints and tendons, and going through the progressions and strengthening everything, not just your muscles, but everything, all your connective tissue, which can be strengthened, needs to be strengthened, so you don't have injury. And body weight exercises is a good way to apparently do that. I mean, I'm no expert, but it's apparently a good way to do it. I mean, I've weight trained long enough to know that it's not really going to get me where I want to be. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it for your. I'd love to get to the mastery level, but I'd love to just get on like step 7 of everything. Right. That would be pretty good too. And then just slowly just master it and keep going, just to have a lifestyle of being in shape, but having ability and function of my body, not just muscles and low body fat. Yes, I want muscles and low body fat. Who doesn't? But at the same time, I'm getting in my mid-30s now, and I'm not getting younger. And if I don't take my workout, if I don't start taking my body seriously, I can fall apart relatively quick. And I don't want to have a fatty liver. I don't want to have diabetes. I don't want to have high blood pressure and issues that are gonna interfere with my life. And I don't want to have gut problems either. I've had gut problems all my life, and I would like to be able to eliminate gut problems. So, and avoid the chance of hernias and stuff like that. Whereas if I decided to become active but wasn't working out, I don't want to injure myself and then just ruin my whole physical aspect of life. Because you can't go from couch potato, sit down at work and take phone calls all day kind of job, and then go out and do like wrestling or Krav Maga, or go out and do some kind of sport, because you're going to pull something, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to tweak your neck, you're going to you're going to quickly turn and then like throw out your neck or something. And you start to realize how fragile your body, how weak you're actually becoming. And calisthenics seems to be like a decent, legit way to rid yourself of weakness, to gain strength, power, flexibility, mobility, and better energy, and protecting your body, like making your body armor, rather than just being so vulnerable, right? As you get older, you start to feel vulnerable as you're getting out of shape, and this can affect a lot of things. Your mood, your confidence, your desire to explore physical things like new sports, stuff like that. Uh, you become more worried about any kind of labor that is physical and could cause injury. You start to avoid stuff. So that's not a good path to go down, is to develop the way to protect myself is to avoid things, not the way to protect myself is to be in great physical shape. So I'm definitely I've written a lot of notes on this book about each exercise and progression. I'm gonna go through his second tier stage where you work out 3 times a week with these things, and because I was working out all last year and feel like I can do 3 workouts a week, not 2 a week, which is the first stage. But I do want to go through the progressions and we'll see what happens. So I highly recommend reading the book. If you've already read it, I highly recommend try this for a bit. Do it with me. Try this out. Do the convict conditioning. See if it works. Let's just try it. Let's see if it works. I mean, we're already this old, and we've already had kind of lackluster gains through weightlifting without any supplements, without steroids. And well, it's time to try something different. See if it works. If it does work, great. I mean, if you can do pull-ups, deep squat, like deep knee squats, single leg squats, handstand push-ups, bridges. Bridges was a very important point that he made. Bridging is just Google it if you don't know what that is. But bridging is very important for spinal health. I'm glad that he addressed spinal health in his novel because my wife suffers from bad back issues, but now she's working out more and she's discovering that her pain is going away. And so I really liked reading that whole section about strengthening your spinal erectors and basically the muscles that sheathe or like go up your spine, and they're like the muscles that move your spine. So you and bridging works them out. And I guess in the East this has been well known, but in the West we're all about our bench presses and deadlifts and stuff. But I'd like to strengthen my back. I don't want to have back issues. I've really hurt my back once or twice, and I don't want to do that again. The other thing is, but like if you do a lot of bridging and you're great at squatting. You can do pull-ups. You can do handstand push-ups. You can do like stiff leg raises, just hanging on a bar, and then you just slowly, just in full control, not using momentum. Like that's, you're gonna have a hard midsection. So anyway, why that's about as good shit. If you can move your body around really easily, you can do push-ups really easily, and you develop a lot of grip strength by doing finger push-ups. And if you if you do all those things, like you're going to be strong, you're going to be healthy. You're being able to move your body around, being able to really move when you need to move, and not risk injuring yourself. That's an important thing to aspire to. That's an important thing to have. Weightlifting is just look how big my bicep is, right? Look at how giant my pecs are, and look at my giant shoulders and my massive thighs and stuff. Like weightlifting, yeah, you can look good, if you take steroids and if you really stick with it, um, or if you're just maybe you have been working out all your life and you weightlift and you're fine. Like I mean, some people probably weightlift and they do weightlift properly. They do have strength in their joints that they prepared before getting a heavier and heavier weight and so forth and so on. Anyway, um, not damning that, but that's for someone like me, I was like, oh, I want to lift lots of weight, and before you know it, you injure yourself, and then you're not lifting any weight, and that's no. What's the point of that? So if I can move my own body around, lift my own body, and be able to have killer workouts with just using my body, then that's good enough for me at this point. I don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I did when I was a kid, but as I got older, I didn't want to look really big and swole. I did in my uh, college years, but then as it dawned on me that that wasn't going to happen, now I'm more like I just want to look fit, right? I just want to actually be fit. I don't even care if I look super fit at this point. I just want to be fit. Anyway, that's about as long as I'm going to make this. I'm going to give it a shot. I do want to dedicate my life to taking care of this body. It's not even really about looking good. It's not even about. It's just about health and functionality, and that's what I liked about this book. He's talking about not appearance. This isn't for your appearance. This is for ability. In the prison yard, the appearance factor is just for intimidation, so people won't mess with you as they can clearly see you're very strong. But the in reality, you really need to be able to use your body functionally and not get injured and not hurt your joints as you get older. No matter what your age is, you have to be in shape. So that interested me too, because I'm like, wow, that's true. Like convicts, they can be super strong and in shape even well into their old age because they have to be. And that's something that it's just the human body. It's just the human body. We're meant to move the human body. Muscles need to move. They need to work. And I know in my day to day life, I hardly ever get that opportunity or chance. So I got to do it. I got to do it this way with calisthenics, especially because I hate going to the gym. That's another thing that appealed to me about this. Is let's face it, um, if you've gone to the gym long enough where you're not like clearly swole or you're not like in really good shape because you still like to eat your hamburgers and things like that, um, you hate going to the gym. Like going to the gym is a fail. It's a farce, and the proof of that is because there's so many people that drop out. Yes, there are people who stay, and everybody's like, wow, it's so great. Every time you go to the gym, you feel fantastic. But really, that does that. Yes, at first, when you get those beginner gains, but then after a while, if you stagnate or whatever, like it gets boring. It gets irritating. There are many days where you had a hard day at work and you don't want to get to the gym. You don't want to do anything. Getting to the gym has been at one point it was very easy for me, and then it started to drop off, drop off, drop off, drop off. Then it dropped off completely. And right now, I haven't been to the gym in months, but I have been working out at home. I do have a pull-up bar. You can see it in the back, and I single leg squat. I started to be like, well, a lot of the exercises I do, I'm not lifting weights anyway, so why do I need to be at the gym? And therefore, that's another reason why I want to do this is because I can work out at home after work or before work and get a decent workout in using minimal equipment and still be able to get in shape. So that was another huge sale factor for me. That's why I bought into it. That's why I want to try it because I don't want to injure myself. I'm not interested in being Superman looking. I'm not interested in bodybuilding anymore. I'm interested in just being in good health, and yeah, that's it. So good health to you, good health to me. Let's have a little drink of water to our good health. I'll talk to you later. Bye.